You may have heard recently that Netflix cancelled 1899, the new show from the creators of Dark. In fact, they did that about 24 hours after I finally got round to starting it after 2 months of putting it off. I mean, sure, blame people like me all you want for its cancellation, but I had other stuff to do in November, then I was sick in December, and people have lives, you know. I'm not the sum of my TV watching schedule. Between this and the fact a show as popular as Sandman had everyone panicked over whether it was even going to get renewed, I'd actually start advising any new series in development at Netflix to start working on their social media campaigns to save it before it's even launched. Seriously, I'm not kidding, just put #SaveInsertShow here at the end of your announcement trailer. I don't know if I'm going to bother finishing 1899 now. I mean, it's kind of pointless if I know it's going to end on a build towards a second season that I know is never going to happen. I was thinking about making a video about Mike Flanagan's Midnight Club, but I'm stuck on the question of whether it's even worth recommending now. It did really grow on me. The premise about a bunch of terminally ill teenagers telling each other spooky stories and being haunted by ghosts is really dark and morbid, but the show had a sense of humour and charm to it. And when it comes to depicting mental health, Mike Flanagan's team is just streets ahead of anyone else. So why has this happened? Well, numbers of course is the surface answer, didn't get the numbers. But that was why I mentioned the people have lives factor at the start of the video. Not everyone's going to watch a new show immediately, and immediate figures is also going to depend on the type of show that you're making. Shows looking for the types of audience that 1899 and the Midnight Club are after, fans of high concept slow burners, tend to take a while to cultivate. Sure, not enough people watched it in the opening month, but what about month 2 or month 3? 1 month wouldn't even be enough time to air these shows on broadcast television. Word of mouth takes time to spread. Certain types of shows take a while to find their niche. Isn't the point of streaming TV that it's more convenient than broadcast TV? It's sat there waiting for me when I get the time to watch it. 1899 barely launched 2 months ago. Why is it my responsibility to save a show by making time in my schedule near the release window? Why wasn't I allowed to put it off until now? So Mike Flanagan's put the plans for season 2 of the Midnight Club on his Tumblr, and that's that. I do want to still recommend the series, as I did get a lot out of it, but if you hear me say that it's left loose ends that you know aren't going to go anywhere, I can totally see why you wouldn't bother. Flanagan actually had the right idea up until this point of doing mini-series with open and shut endings, because then you remove the problem of rendering your series basically pointless when it doesn't get renewed. And that's actually the route I'd recommend most shows go down in the future. I was thrilled when Wednesday ended mostly conclusively, with just a hint at a possible story for a second season if it gets it. It just seems like Netflix is a very dodgy prospect for any new series. It's getting quite hard to figure out what Netflix's game plan actually is. What was the point of 1899? Why throw millions of dollars at producing an entire first series of an obviously expansive multi-series sci-fi epic if it can be ditched this easily? If you were looking at this prospect and were concerned about audience sustainability, why make 8 episodes? Couldn't you have just, made a pilot? Well, apparently pilots are just not the done thing at Netflix for some reason. It seems to be a case of, well, that's how we've always done it. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it works though, does it? Because now, here I am, I finished the Midnight Club, got really invested in the characters, was on the edge of my seat to see what happens in Season 2, and now Season 2 is a blog post. Clearly something is broken, and it would be way too easy and cheap to me if someone's going to come along and suggest it's a case of a show being bad, or that my subjective opinion about that show is somehow objectively wrong, or it's the audience not watching it immediately. Why is it everyone else's fault that things like this happen except Netflix? This keeps happening with this specific broadcaster, where it puts together an entire series, drops the thing out into the world and expects it to sink or swim immediately, regardless of any of the context-specific factors of a series that they've just put out. I am the target audience for 1899, and they decided to cancel it before I'd even watched it, because apparently not enough people were watching it. How does that work? And this problem is clearly getting bigger if even people with established loyal fan bases like Flanagan are in danger. Shows used to get at least 2 seasons at Netflix to see if they sink or swim, because back then someone high up at the company seemed to understand that the internet just works differently to broadcast television, because the viewer knows that it's sat there on their account waiting for them when they get time for it. There's a ton of shows in Netflix's catalogue that probably wouldn't make it past the first season if they were commissioned now, if Netflix expect immediate results for everything regardless of the type of show they've made. I can envision a future where any series that doesn't make Squid Game levels of waves is going to end up being in jeopardy by design. So now I've had to put off my planned Twin Peaks rewatch again, because apparently I've got to watch Alice in Borderland Season 2 right now, this second, or it'll end up getting cancelled. Thinking about it, it's actually a genius way of a broadcaster controlling your viewing habits. Next time a show I'm interested in comes out, I will have to watch it within the first month, based on my fear of any investment that I develop getting rendered pointless 2 months later if I don't add my digit to Netflix's analytics as soon as possible. So I suppose annual save a show I like social media campaigns are going to be the new norm from now on, so we might as well get started now. Might as well be the first to use it. Hashtag save Alice in Borderland.